This is lesson 52B, the second video of lesson 52, where we are adding rational expressions with unequal denominators and also doing overall averages. And we are in 52.3 example, and that example gives us an a plus b over x plus c over m plus d. Okay, again, my suggestion would be to always put grouping symbols around two terms that are being added or subtracted, just so you know that they're grouped. And I'm also going to make this d a fraction by putting d over 1. Okay, so again, I didn't spread this out when I did this the first time. So that, gosh, I mean, it helps me. You don't have to. Alright, so as far as overall average, you know how to find the average of numbers. So if I have 2, 3, 4, 6, and 9, and I'm finding the average, I add those numbers together and divide by the number of numbers I have. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers there, so that's over 5. So I add the top numbers together, so I get 5, 9, 18, 24, divided by 5, and that number, that answer, which is almost 5, is going to be my average. Okay, there's another thing that we're doing in here called the average of the averages. And the way that works is if we have some numbers such as 2, 3, 4, and 6, okay, and we divide that by 4 since there's 4 numbers. So we have 2 plus 3 is 5, 9, 15 divided by 4. That would be the average, which would be 3 and 3/4. And let's say that I did a 4, 6, 8, 9, and 10 here, and I found the average of that, and that's going to be 4, 6, 10, 29, 37, and that's going to be 7 and 2/5 is the average. So I've got an average there and an average there. Now what if I want to find the average of these two averages? Well, I'm going to add those together, 3 and 3/4 plus 7 and 2/5, and I'm going to divide by 2 because there's two numbers here. That is called the average of the averages. We took the average of two sets of numbers and then we averaged those together. Alright, so all that to say, we're not doing that in this lesson, but just to remind you of what that was. Now, what we're going to do in this part is called the overall average. The overall average is the sum of all numbers divided by the number of numbers. Okay? So, let's look at an example here, and it should come pretty easy for you. So I'm only going to show you one example here, and if you follow this example, you'll be good to go on any of the homework. So what we do is we take the average of the first 90 numbers was 4. So we take the average and the number of numbers there were. There were 90 numbers that we took the average of, and the average was 4. So what we do is we take 90 times 4. Then we look at the second numbers. We have 10 numbers and the average is 6. Okay? Oops, and there's a plus sign there. So that's how we write it. That's it. 90 times 4, 10 times 6. Then we do a division, and we put the number of numbers we have. So there were 90 numbers here, there were 10 numbers here. Okay? 90 times 4 is 360. 10 times 6 is 60. Divided by 100. Add the So 360 plus 60 is 420. And that's over 100. You divide that out, and we get 4.2. So that is considered the overall average. That is all there is to that. So you take the average times how many numbers, multiply them. The average times how many numbers, multiply them. Add them together, divided by the number of numbers plus the number of numbers. Now the only thing that's going to be confusing probably is this denominator. Do I add 90 and 10 or 6 and 4? Well, you're adding the number of numbers. There are 90 numbers that we averaged and got 4. There were 10 numbers that we averaged and got 6. So a key thing is when it says the word numbers, you know that number right there in front of the word numbers is one. It was one of the parts that's going to go down here. And then we've got 10 numbers, so you know the 10 is going to go down here. So look and see what number is in front of the word numbers. I know that's confusing. And those are the numbers that are going to go in the denominator there. Okay, and that's it for lesson number 52.